Okay, cool. So here we are at Dojo Bali, and what happens at Dojo Bali is people come. This is a co-working space, so people come to get on with their work. And what happens occasionally is super interesting people come through, super interesting and inspiring and beautiful people like Connie come through, and we thought it might be interesting to talk to these people, and they might inspire you maybe to come and visit us at Dojo Bali and get some work done. Good to plan?
Super plan.
Super plan. Okay, cool. So we've got a great big long list of questions for Connie, you can see. So we're going to see
We're going really in depth here.
We're going in depth, yeah. We're really going for some groundbreaking,
right.
like
let's get started.
truth. Yeah, let's get started. Yeah. Okay, Connie, so we can just put that away. So Connie, tell me who you are, where you're from, and what it is that you do.
Woo, that's a lot of deep questions right there. All right, so my name's Connie. I'm from Germany. I am a travel blogger, I think.
Okay.
One of my blog is called Planet Backpack. And I also do a lot of YouTube videos these days. I also created an ebook course that teaches people how to live and work location independent. And I'm just really all about helping people live their most awesomest self, I guess, and figure out what they really want to do with their lives and just go for it. And I think my hashtag and motto, it will be hashtag no excuses. So that's that.
Nice hashtag. Okay, cool. So what I'm interested to know is how long have you been living this lifestyle?
So we're in 2016 now, 4.5 years? More than 4.5 years now, actually, yeah.
Okay, and what motivated you to start living like this?
Well, I have kind of always had a very nomadic life since I was a teenager, actually. And so I've been living all around the world, going to different schools and working in different places and going to different universities. And then eventually I became a scuba dive instructor. So that was my first step into like a job that, you know, you can live in beautiful places and kind of have a nice life. However, I ended up back in Germany for a year, and I was kind of forced to get a real job. And I tried that, and after 2 months sitting in an office doing the 9 to 5, I thought I was going to go crazy and decided that that wasn't my thing, and I was looking for alternatives, and I realized I needed to have a life with a job where I can make money from anywhere. So that was my initial thought, really. It was pretty simple. I didn't know there was, like, that was back in 2011. I never heard of the term digital nomad, location independence, online business, entrepreneur. I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur or, you know, make money online, all that stuff. Yeah, and then I just kind of, I don't know how it happened, the 4-hour work week landed in my lap. I read that, and then from then on, the rest is kind of history.
Okay, so something did happen then. So how did you start?
How did I start? Well, with that book, really. And then I was still in a job, and I just thought really long and hard, how can I use the skills that I had, and I didn't have a whole lot of them in terms of, you know, monetizing them online, but how can I use the ones that I have and make money with them? And so I figured, well, I can do a bit of WordPress, I can do a bit of translations, English, German, I can do press releases because I was working in a PR agency, and like manage Facebook accounts, stuff like that. So I just built a little conniebizalski.com website and just quit my job and started telling people what I was doing now. I was a freelancer now, and they took me up on it, and so that's how I got started. And then I simultaneously started building my travel blog, Planet Backpack, and then didn't take very long, and that whole thing kind of turned into a really big thing. And then I scaled down on the clients and was able to fully focus on my blog, and then another business I had with a business partner, and started doing workshops and speaking at conferences, and it just all kind of snowballed. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So you were a freelancer first, and how much preparation did you do? You said you quit your job. Did you just quit your job one day and there's nothing in the bank, or did you build yourself a buffer, or how did that work?
Yeah, I had a huge buffer of about 3,000 euros before I jumped, so maybe $4,000. Well, I planned it in a, like, as I was still in the job, I was preparing my website and I was reading up a lot. I was doing a lot of like free online courses and reading ebooks and everything I could get my hands on to really expand my knowledge of marketing, of, you know, running a business, and improving my skills. And so it took about another 6 months maybe of preparation work before I then actually jumped and quit my job. And then on day one, I actually already had clients because, I was just really prepared. I was telling everybody beforehand, I'm quitting my job, and then 1st of February 2012, I'm ready to go. I didn't really have a lot of money. I knew with 3,000 euros, I could comfortably live in, let's say, Chiang Mai or Bali for a few months, like really basic, obviously, but it would work. I wasn't just like, I knew I had to do this because there was no plan B. Like, I didn't have a safety net, and I think that really helped because I needed to make this work. And so I did.
Okay, cool. So, where did you go?
Well, actually, interesting that you asked, because my first stop was then in April 2012 was Bali. I've already been to Bali many times, was working as a scuba dive instructor on the Gili Islands, and I was very familiar with the place. And so I did about 2 or 3 months in Berlin, just kind of test driving the whole online business freelancing thing, getting clients, and then flew out to Bali. And that was awesome. Yeah, really enjoyed it. It was great. It was an interesting experience for the first time, trying to, manage being in a beautiful place and wanting to do all these great things with actually having to sit down and work, and then having a time difference and communication with clients and all these things. So it was great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm interested to know about the challenges, because it is a challenge sitting here working when the beach is like 50 meters down the road.
It is.
There's, 100 great restaurants. There's a party every night.
Yeah.
So is that the only challenge?
To be honest, it isn't the easiest way to get stuff done, but living in a place like Bali. However, I find by having this amazing, and I hate to use the word, what is it? Work-life balance.
Okay, those three words.
That's how I never use it. I don't even remember it. Anyway, and then because it's really important for me to get my yoga in, my surf in, my healthy food in, and all this stuff. But at the same time, because I do that, the time that I then sit down and actually work, I'm so much more creative and I'm so much more productive because I have these priorities.
Okay.
I really made, work is really important to me, and also for me it comes in phases. And also, I put a lot of hours in the first 2 or 3 years, like a lot of hours. And I feel like I'm kind of reaping the benefits now. A lot of stuff is automated, a lot of passive income coming in. So I can take time off. I can say I'm not working today, tomorrow, or for the next month, so that's cool. However, that's not how I want to live my life, because I like to contribute to the world, to the planet, to other people's lives. And so, but it comes in phases, I find. So there will be weeks where I work a lot and I'm really focused, and I have a very strict schedule of when I go to yoga and when I go surfing, and where I eat. I tend to then end up going to the same places to eat, because it's just easier. You don't have to think about so much, and you have to make less decisions. And then there will be phases like the last couple of weeks. I had visitors, and I had to go to Singapore, and I had to do this and that. And then obviously not much happens, but I accept it as a fact, and now I'm back and going all in again. So there's different ways, I think, to navigate productivity in places like this. I see it as an advantage because it keeps me really on top of the game. It keeps me creative, extremely creative and stimulated. Whereas if I was to sit, in the same office every day or in the same city every day or whatever, it's, for me, like, my brain would get so bored. I don't think I could produce the work that I can produce here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how much time passes where you're not actually getting much stuff done before it's just like you're just on holiday forever?
Well, I mean, the last 2 weeks kind of feel like I've been on holiday. But at the same time, constantly in the back of my head, I was like, tomorrow, but then tomorrow never came. Today, tomorrow came. Well, generally, and this is how I look at it, I love what I do, right? I really, really do. So it's also really hard not to do what you love doing. The reason why I do a lot of yoga and I go surfing a lot and I take advantage of what this place has to offer is because I'm really into having a healthy body and a healthy lifestyle, and because that gives me the energy and the mental space and the creativity to then do amazing work for other people. And so that's really how I look at it. And generally, and that's how it was for before I had these like 2 weeks off now, the weeks before that, it was hard to actually not work a day.
Yeah.
You know, I would come here on Saturdays and Sundays because, you know, I was just, you know, I loved it.
Yeah.
And so I don't work by, you know, taking days off or having a weekend or whatever. I do it when I feel like it. And so, and some days I feel like, you know, crushing it for 10 hours, and some days I feel like just doing the bare minimum. It's really hard to have rules on that, yeah.
Cool. But because you love it, you stay motivated. You want to do it all the time.
Exactly.
There's
And
no
also
avoidance.
because I have the life that I can have here that's so healthy and keeps me active and things like that. Like, it is a beautiful balance, you know, and I need a lot of time away from the laptop to then be able to really focus down and be productive. Yeah.
Cool. So the main thing currently still is the blog. And the blog is massively successful. You've got like, is it 150,000 readers a month?
Around there?
Around there. So that works. And it means you're a little bit famous. So sometimes when you walk in here, the Germans are all like, it's Connie. And like you say, in 2011, that wasn't the industry that it is now. So how do you feel about the industry that it's become and the people who are starting out now? Do you have views on all of those things?
Well, 2011 or 2012, there was no dojo, and so there wasn't a whole lot of infrastructure back then. You know, I remember, you know, staying in hostels or hotels or whatever, trying to get stuff done, which is even harder because you're not surrounded by people that are also getting stuff done. Like, I find it much easier to be here and, you know, seeing all these people working away than sitting in a place where there's only travelers. And so I love how the growth of us, of people that can work location dependent, has resulted in this bigger and bigger infrastructure around the world. I mean, it's still not vast. I mean, it's still certain hotspots, right? So Bali is definitely a hotspot, more and more so. And then Chiang Mai, and then a couple of places in Vietnam, and then some places in Europe, and then Medellin in Colombia is one. So there's like little pockets, but they're becoming more and more. There's now co-working spaces on little islands in Thailand and stuff. So there's more and more happening. There's more networking happening. There's more socializing happening. I feel less lonely than I did 4 or 5 years ago, you know, and that's amazing.
Okay.
And just having this place for me, like the dojo, like ever since from the very beginning that I came here last year, it was like a little like a living room, you know. Sometimes I have to stay at home and do work because I know there's work that I need to do at home, and then there's work that I can do here. But it also has the added benefit that, yeah, you know, people, you have workshops here, you've got events, like, it's beautiful. So I look at the development of this location-dependent movement as like, I think it's beautiful what's happening right now, and I'm super excited to see where this is going because this is just the beginnings, right?
Yeah.
It's so tiny and it's wonderful.
It feels a bit like a revolution, doesn't it?
It
Like
does,
people are waking
yeah.
up and realizing they don't have to sit in an office in Berlin or Cologne or wherever it might be all day every day. They could be here in Bali.
Yeah.
So what does location independence mean to you?
It means being able to do whatever I want, wherever I want. Yeah. So that's basically it. I mean, essentially, so this is how I look at it. Location dependence is just the first step in our evolution as like human beings freeing ourselves from traditional ways of how society wants us to live, right? It's really just the essence of living out freedom. And for me, it's always just been about freedom. And location dependence, being a digital nomad, running an online business is just the manifestation of the desire, this amazing need that I feel every day and always have felt for freedom. And so, however, I think we can use this freedom to an even greater extent. And I keep reflecting myself on like where I've come from the last few years, how it all started, and where I'm headed and which phase I'm in, and I've written blog posts about like the different stages of being a digital nomad and stuff like that, and how we're evolving because, as I said, it's all still really new, right? But yeah, in the end, for me, it just gives me the space to really realize who I am, my potential, the life that makes me super happy. Like there's no more excuses to not have a good life every day. It gives me the space to work on myself a lot, to do a lot of self-growth, personal growth stuff, personal development stuff. And it gives me, in my case, because I have my finances sorted out with passive income, that gives me a lot of space to focus on things that are not making money, right? So right now I'm all about making videos. And then I have all these other ideas and plans and projects that I want to realize over the next few months and years. And so that's amazing, just to like be able to make money basically while you sleep, because that gives you all this time and space, because you're not worried about your fucking existence anymore, right? Like, I mean, generally, you know, we'll be worried about how we get enough money and to have enough food and to feed our families and all these other things. But once that drops away, this whole new world opens up. And that way, you know, I feel like I can really contribute and like leave some sort of legacy, because I'm able to use this space and the time and the finances. But I'm not quite sure where this is exactly going to be headed, but this is how it feels.
So what would your advice be to anyone who's thinking they want to be location independent, they want to be a digital nomad, they want to be a travel blogger? What do you tell those people?
What do I tell those people? Well, they really need to, for one, figure out why, like they need to figure out their why, you know? And that's why I just said about the freedom and like, what do you actually want to do with this freedom? Like the traveling aspect of it, the living in different places and living in paradise, like what we're doing, it's a tiny little layer. It'll get, you know, that aspect, if that's the only thing you want to do this for, it's going to get boring. You know, the traveling will get boring. The living in beautiful places, you know, eventually you will be faced with new realities and new challenges. And so I think the why is a big thing. Generally, I can still recommend, like in more of practical terms now, I can recommend doing it the way I did it. I started out freelancing. I had, like, as I said, very little skills from working in a PR agency for 8 months. You know, I didn't really have a lot to show for myself. You gotta kind of fake it till you make it. That's how I found. And it worked. So yeah, start freelancing and then think about exactly the kind of life you want to have. Like for me, it was very clear that I wanted to have passive income. I don't want to have any worries or fears about my financial existence. So I made arrangements to sort that out, and also invest a lot of time in learning. Books, ebooks, everything, especially online marketing, copywriting, like how to build your own like yesterday I saw someone on Facebook posting in like a digital nomad group, I don't know how to build a WordPress website, I don't have the skills and I don't have any money, what do I do?
Go home.
And I don't have time to learn it or something, or I don't want to learn it. I'm like, well,
go home.
Don't, you know? Like, seriously. So anyway, get into that, get on top of it, learn, and enjoy the process of getting where you want to get, because the end goal should not just be the traveling. It shouldn't just be living in a beautiful place. Like, figure out the greater purpose of what you actually want to achieve.
Great advice. Really good advice. So are you under pressure because you're busy with the blog as much as you can? Maybe you've answered this already, but we see bloggers come through, like travel bloggers, and it seems to me that they're on a mission every day. They have to go and do something exciting and have an adventure so they've got something to talk about. Do you feel that pressure?
I did in the beginning when I started out, because in the beginning it's super exciting, you know, when you're a travel blogger and your audience grows and then companies write you, or you realize, oh, maybe I can travel for free or stay in this hotel for free, or, you know. And then you do that for a little while and that's fun, and then you realize that's kind of boring and you kind of have to write about things you might not want to write about. And in the end, as my income from affiliate marketing and from my ebook sales and all the other stuff grew, I just decided I want to just basically pay for everything myself. So that means I don't have any responsibilities, I can do whatever I want. Like, I just want to be super independent, right? And so yeah, I mean, the first few years my travel blog was a relatively conventional travel blog, in the sense that it was for backpackers, long-term travelers, budget travelers, and I wrote about, you know, the 5 things you should do in Bali and the 10 tips for India and stuff like that. The more I got into that, though, I realized that for me that's just not deep enough. I don't know, I got really bored, and I also realized that there's more to the life of a travel blogger and a digital nomad than just the traveling. And then I started to write about deeper things. And then I also realized how I was changing and how I was not just the one writing, but the personal brand. Like I was the reason many people came to the blog. And so I completely rebranded everything about a year and a half ago, turned it from this conventional travel blog into a very personal website that kind of just follows me as I'm a digital nomad who tries to live a conscious lifestyle, and helps other people to do the same thing. And so now I don't ever write blog posts about, the best hotels to stay in, Canggu or things like that. It's really more about the deeper issues. And like recently, I don't know, for example, I'd write things about how I practice self-care around the world, or what I've learned about a healthy lifestyle or a healthy diet as I traveled the world. It's more about my life and the lifestyle that I have that I want to pass on to people without being like super dogmatic about it or preaching, and it really resonates with people. And I also get really, really naked a lot of times. Like it's become a very personal outlet for me. I share a lot of my personal journeys and personal challenges that I've faced over the years, and more so now also through video. So I don't look at my blog as like the typical travel blog anymore. It's turned into a very different thing, and yeah.
And are people as interested in that as they were, or more interested in that than what was going on previously?
Yeah, I think so, because they don't just follow me because of my travels, they follow me because of who I am and the life that I live. And a lot of people, they say to me or write to me or comment, I'm not interested to become a digital nomad or travel the world much and blah blah blah, but I just think it's super fascinating and interesting what you're doing, and they get inspired in many other ways to change their lives because the thing is, I don't want to tell people become a digital nomad, or I want to help them along if that's what they decide they want to do. But what I actually really want to help people with is for them to figure out what they want to do. It doesn't mean that my life is the one they should aspire to have. I think that everyone should figure out what it should look like for themselves. And so that's kind of what I try to do, really. I want to open people's minds to different ways to live and to enjoy it and to make money and to make a living and to really figure out why they're here on this fucking planet, really. So yeah, my message has become a lot broader and wider, but also a lot deeper over the years. And the travel blog is just a means for me, really. I've thought about, starting something new, a new platform, renaming it. And I was like, nah. I figured, actually my mom said this to me, because there were times when I was like, I'm going to shut down Planet Backpack because I'm not a travel blogger anymore. I don't, And then she was like, yeah, but you reach all these people because they're looking, most, still 60-70% of my readers come through Google, right? It's Google search traffic. And through keywords like, packing list for traveling, or what's the best time to travel to Thailand, posts that I wrote years ago. They come to my website, they find that information. A lot of these people then go away because they found the information, but a lot of these people, they stick around and they keep, going into the archives, and then they figure out all this other stuff that I talk about now. And so that's how I reach people now, and I find that really fascinating because I can inspire them although they weren't even looking for that sort of information. Yeah. And I think that's why my blog is here and why I keep doing what I do.
Cool.
What you think?
Well, I think it's really interesting that you've got this theme of freedom that just runs like underneath it all. So it doesn't matter if people want to travel to be free, or if they just, they want to have passive incomes to be free. I really like that. I didn't realize that about you. You're more interesting and inspiring than I thought. Okay, cool. Is there anything else you think that, tell us how you feel about, tell me quickly about your favorite places in the world, and then just tell us very quickly about, you've spoken already about Dojo, but maybe co-working, where good co-working is.
Okay, so seriously, my favorite place right now is where I am right now. It's Bali. I've been here on and off for about a year and a half. I really, really, really love it here because it really facilitates the lifestyle that I want to have, that makes me happy, where I feel the best. And I've seen this place and it's been developing like crazy over the last year and a half, Canggu has, and And I've seen Dojo open and strive and develop, and it's been super fascinating as well to be part of that. So definitely specifically Canggu, but I love Bali for so many reasons. And obviously Dojo is one as well. I was blown away by New Zealand in February. I think you know that place quite well.
I know that place, yeah.
I went to a yoga
Got me
festival.
goosebumps just saying New Zealand.
So New Zealand is just, oh man, it was mind-blowing. And I'm a big fan of a couple of very small little villages in Mexico called Mazunte and Zipolite on the Pacific coast. Very hippie-esque places, but I love it there. Very special places. And Southern California, man. Gotta say. Encinitas, for example, big fan, like south of LA. Right now, I think, yeah. And I'm more and more drawn to places like Hawaii I've never been to, and I really want to go to Japan. Those are like my two main ones right now I want to go to.
Okay, cool.
And co-working wise, I think Dojo, I do spend some time in co-working spaces when I travel, but Dojo has been like my base in terms of like co-working spaces. I've been to many, but I can't even tell you too much about them just because they didn't stick. What's great, what I think is awesome, is that there is more and more happening in places, like I said, like on an island in Thailand and all this stuff. So that's happening, and in more, outside of big cities, because still most co-working spaces, let's say in Europe, for example, they're in the big cities.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm not a big city girl, so I prefer smaller places. And that movement I find is interesting. One other thing I find very interesting is the co-living, co-working movement that's happening. So for example, I checked out Outside. They're in Encinitas, for example, they have one, and they have a few other spaces developing, and I think that's awesome as well, to actually have a place to live with other location-dependent entrepreneurs, and in that house there's a co-working space, and so that's a great development. There's more and more popping up all over the world.
Continuity issue. We've got to the end of our long list of questions for Connie. It's been really, really useful. I didn't realise quite so much about you. Of course, if you're interested in learning more about Connie's adventures, then her website can be found at...
The English one is conniebizalski.com. We'll put it below the video in the description box.
Okay, and the German one?
And the German one is planetbackpack.de. You can find me on Instagram and obviously YouTube. And yeah,
YouTube is the new thing. Stand by for lots and lots and lots of videos. And the other thing I wanted to say was, you can learn all about Connie and her internal adventures, her external adventures, her international adventures. It's all going on those websites and on her YouTube channel. Of course, if you want to come and live in paradise with us, you'll find us here in Echo Bay at Dojo. There's a little bit of space for you if you need somewhere to sit and get some work done with some decent internet. We'll see you soon. Thanks,
Martin.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.